大家晚上好。为什么晚上？天要黑了，啊，黑了就是晚上。我看很多的单身妈妈啊，她们的生活是很苦的，是很黑暗的。我像单身妈妈吗？当然不像啦。为什么我在这里？因为一个星期前，星期六，6月8号，我在这里讲什么？讲媒体的自由是吗？不够时间呢？为什么不够时间？我本来要讲单身妈妈的统计的，但是不够时间，所以今天有机会了就来咯。我跟这些单身妈妈是没有关系的哦，我不认识他们的啊，与我无关哦。那个什么 Vivian 啊，我只是见过他一次面哦。5月1号的时候啊，来这里演讲，他也是一个讲师，11个。So why am I here today? Because anybody can go to the NParks website and register to speak on anything they want. As I said in Mandarin earlier, since I didn't have time last Saturday to talk about single mothers, I register and so I'm here. Why am I so interested in single mothers? Because you know I eat statistics for lunch almost every day, right? There's one statistic I try to find for many years, can never find. What is that statistic? How many single mothers, how many single fathers, how many single parents are there in Singapore? I cannot find that. If any of you can find this one, if you give it to me, I'll be very, very grateful. Look at the statistics. The number of divorces are increasing every year. The latest about 7,000 plus divorces a year. The number of teenage pregnancies is also increasing. A recent media reported that there were more than 2,000 teenage pregnancies in 1 year. You add all this together, maybe 9,000 plus. That means every 10 years, maybe 90,000. 20 years, 100,000. So how many single parents are there in Singapore? Nobody knows. Why do I have a special interest in single mothers? I've been volunteering to do financial counseling for 10 over years now. I have come across scores of single mothers. And I just want to share some of the single mother stories with you. Last year, one single mother came. You might have noticed I'm trying to speak a bit louder because down there got some, drum music trying to compete with me here. Last year, one single mother came for financial counseling. So I asked her, okay, what is your problem? What's your concern? This was what she said. She don't have a house to stay. She has a son. She has a 50-year-old mother. They don't have their own home. So they're applying for a HDB rental flat. Okay. So I asked her, what's your problem? She says, according to HDB rules, if you're unwed single mother, you are only eligible to rent a one-room flat no matter how many people you have in the house. So you cannot get a two-room flat. So, like in financial counseling, sometimes when they come, they like to talk, then we try to probe and ask a bit more. So normally we don't ask, why are you a unwed single mother? But she volunteered the information. You know why she's an unwed single mother? The father of the child is still in Singapore, but they are afraid to get married. If any of you can answer, tell me why is it that some people are afraid to get married in Singapore and therefore end up as unwed single mother? I have a prize for you. Anybody? Okay lah, I got a prize for you lah. You see, the father is on the work permit, is a foreigner. If they get married, it's a breach of his work permit conditions. So they are afraid that if they get married, the father will be deported from Singapore, and that's why she's an unwed single mother. Unwed single mother have a lot of problems. As I've just cited, HDB. An unwed single mother with children are not considered as a family nucleus and therefore cannot apply for a HDB new BTO flat. They can only buy a resale flat. And you know, resale flat is so much more expensive. You got to pay COV. So I have met so many unwed single mothers who are stuck with their housing problems because of the HDB's policy. Let me share another story with you. And the good thing, I think, like today is, unlike last Saturday, I was only given 15 minutes. Actually, 15 minutes very good already, because the other speaker only have 10. I'm the last speaker. Today, I registered to speak from 5 to 7. There's only 6:10. But don't worry, I won't speak for 15 minutes, okay? You will still be in time to go home for your dinner. I just want to share one more single mother story who came for financial counseling with you. Single mother come, 4 children. Say, where are you staying? Oh, I'm staying in the homeless shelter. For those of you who know where I live, I also didn't realize that just 5-minute walk from my house, there's a huge homeless shelter for women and children. Then I discovered homeless shelters in Singapore don't have signboard, don't have website, don't have telephone, don't have email. Maybe because they are secret places, I don't know. Anyway, this lady has 4 children. So I asked her, what is your problem? This is her story. She is a PR. She married a Singaporean. The husband went to China to do this business and never come back. Not only did he didn't come back, he sold away the HDB flat, emptied all the bank accounts and never came back. And so she was left with 4 children. Fortunately, this lady is a graduate. She has a degree. So she can work to support the 4 children. But guess what? A very unusual problem occurred for this single mother. Not unwed, but abandoned. The 4th child was born after the husband had absconded. So when she went to apply for his citizenship, you know what they told her? How do I know this child was fathered by the Singaporean? And so her 4th child could not be a citizen. You know how difficult it is if your child in Singapore is not a citizen? When you fall sick, you have to pay as much as 5 times more than a citizen. You go to school, you have to pay so many times more. Everything you have to pay so many times more. The other problem, of course, is try applying for a job and your employer asks you, are you married? Not really lah, because okay, what do you mean not married? My husband ran away lah. Okay, how many children you have? 4 children. Why you are staying homeless shelter? Cannot get job. There is so much discrimination against single mothers. So cut the long story short. Normally when we do financial counseling, for maybe about 90% of the cases, we normally have some advice or solution from the financial counseling or financial planning perspective. In this case, I was totally lost lah. Or rather, my volunteers and I were totally, I should say, 张良才尽. So what I did was I wrote a story on the internet. The editor of the online blog who is here is where it was posted. One of the evening newspapers picked up her story, and 3 days later, all her problems went away. Why? Lots of people came to offer her a job. So she got a job with a decent pay. Someone offered to pay for the DNA test to show that the son is the father's son. Some lawyer volunteered to go to court to apply, for citizenship. So to cut a long story short, the problem went away. I'm telling you these 2 stories is just 2 of maybe scores that we have come across doing financial counseling as volunteers over the last 10 over years. Because single mothers, especially those are unwed ones, they have other problems as well. Single unwed mothers don't qualify for baby bonus, don't qualify for child development account. It used to be they don't even qualify for the 4th month of the maternity leave funding. But recently that has been extended to them. Singapore is a signature to CDOR. the Convention Against All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. Singapore is a signatory to the ASEAN Human Rights Declaration. Why do we still have policies that discriminate against single unwed mothers or single mothers? But what I have just described to you is just the tip of the iceberg. Why? Most of the single mothers are not unwed single mothers. Most of the single mothers are, do you know? They are divorced single mothers. Most of the cases that we see as volunteers for financial counseling are divorced single mothers, and the main problem is a roof over the head. Why? In Singapore, when you get divorced, most of the time, your HDB flat will have to be, you have to sell away. Even if the judge says, I give 100% of the flat to the spouse, the mother, she has a problem. You know why? She has to find the money to top up her husband's CPF plus the interest in order to take over the home. Most of the people that we see, they are been housewives all their life. Where do they find the money? They don't have a job. Nobody will lend them money to take over the home. So in many cases, like we say in Singapore, you can fall sick, cannot die. Actually, worse, you cannot get divorced. Okay, you what we call die standing. Okay. So what happens to all these cases? They have no home. Then they go to HDB. Can I buy a new HDB flat? Oh, got 30-month waiting period. You have to wait 30 months. Then you apply for BTO. Then even when you get it, you have to wait another 3, 4, 5 years for the flat to be built. What are they going to do during this period? Single mother with 2, 3, 4 children. So what's the other alternative? Apply for a HDB rental flat. Same problem. 30-month waiting period before you can apply for a HDB rental flat. So the policies that we have, either directly or indirectly, discriminates against single parents, and at the end of the day, who suffers? It's the children. We come across single mothers who are not Singaporeans, like they say, even more chalak. Why? Because they are foreigners, and for some reason they are abandoned by the Singaporean husband or whatever. Even though the children are Singaporeans, they have a problem. It's very hard for them to get assistance for various schemes because they are not Singaporean. Right? Some schemes can, some schemes cannot. Right? But fortunately, there is one VWO that caters specially for this type of single mothers who are non-Singaporeans. If not for all these VWOs and NGOs, I think a lot of single mothers may be worse off. The worst cases that we see are those where a single mother has a child who has a medical problem. You know, giving birth is such a joy, right? But imagine you give birth to a child that has congenital problem, that means born got some medical problem. You die, you know. You know why? The child cannot be insured even under the most basic MediShield scheme in Singapore. Fortunately, about a year ago, they changed this rule already. About a year ago, they now allow children with congenital conditions to be insured under MediShield. But the problem is still there. Because for all these children, the older children, they can be insured now, but there may be exclusions based on the condition that they had before they changed the policy. So we meet so many single mothers. It's hard enough to be a single mother, to struggle by yourself. You don't need all these policies to trip you up, you know. Now, to apply for financial assistance in Singapore is a challenge, but it's a greater challenge if you work hard and try to earn more money. Let me give you an example. You are a single mother, you have a few children. If you earn very little is maybe like less than $2,000 a month, then it's a blessing in disguise. You know why? Easier for you to apply to get all the schemes. But if you're a single mother who earns say $3,500, you die lah. right? Practically every scheme, right, or hardly any scheme you'll be eligible. So you are what you call neither here nor there, you know. You know, like it used to be that for childcare subsidy, if you earn above a certain amount, then you don't qualify, it's still the same, or you get less. Sometimes we advise the single mother, your boss want to increase your pay, then you cross the benchmark, then you lose your subsidy or get less. How? So I said, why not? Talk to your boss, say, hey, don't pay me in cash, okay? Pay me in kind, okay? Give me milk powder or whatever, I don't care, right? Because that is the system in Singapore. What is even worse in Singapore is that all the assistance schemes typically do not give you much weightage as to what are the circumstances of your family. You have one disabled child. The criteria to get assistance basically is the same. So a family that is all healthy and one that is one not healthy, or I just had a case 2 weeks ago. One family or 2 children also have health problem. So our assistance schemes must take into account the circumstances of the family. We cannot have a one size that fits all for everybody.